The picturesque town of Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin is the backdrop for one of the biggest motorsports events in the world. For the 4th year, the Sports Car Club of America National Championship Runoffs returns to Road America. Beautiful, fast, and treacherous, this track puts a premium on horsepower, aerodynamics, and bravery. A single mistake can end in disaster, but a single moment of inspiration can turn a contender into a champion. The 49th annual SCCA Runoffs is next on Speedcast TV. We are ready to go racing in H production. Oh, he turned him. Working the inside is Lee Neffenegger.
He halved the difference. Oh, Spicer trying to hold position.
But he's too much speed. He's wide. Guerrerian trying to do it around the outside.
One more for the guys up in the booth.
It's time for the National Championship chase in Touring 2 in the Sports Car Club of America's 49th annual running of the National Championship Runoffs at America's National Park of Speed, Road America. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Kramer, joined by Randy Pobst. And as we're getting set to set the field for this T2 or Touring 2 National Championship, we're going to head right down to our third member of the broadcast team in the pre-grid, John Bizignano. Hey, Biz.
Well, thanks, Greg. We're only about 30 seconds to the start of this race, and Don Knowles is on pole position. Of course, we all know Don Knowles. He's normally, if you've seen him many times in a Cadillac. Of course, right behind Knowles, look, you have a Chevy Camaro, a Mitsubishi, a Porsche 911, and another Mustang. I think what this class has done is allowed many manufacturers, a BMW and so forth, to come in here and really prove the excellence of the individual designs. This is a mark-type win. There are many representatives from each of these manufacturers here at the race, and they want to see these cars finish up front that have come from their factory. Again, not in a stock situation, but in a modified situation. These marks want to be number one when you are able to mix them all together like this. Randy, I got to ask you. Now, of course, Don Knowles has won several championships in a heavier car, even sometimes a four-door Cadillac. Front-wheel drive. Now he's in that Mustang. It's a bit of a change for a champion to be able to adapt to.
Hey, Don Knowles has been around. This is a guy who I'd like to tease because he doesn't look like a race car driver. He's an older guy. He's pretty big, but boy, can he drive, and he wins in everything he's in. I don't think Don's going to have a problem adapting to that Mustang because of his long experience in all different kinds of cars that are based on street cars like the ones we see now.
Well, that's true. I mean, he's a 5-time gold medalist. He's got a slew of silvers and bronzes. This is his 6th pole position in runoffs competition. 3 times he's had fast laps, and this is his 4th pole in this class. He had 2 in a row, then a gap, and now he's been on pole for the last 2. And Randy, we were chatting at one point. He may still have the record for most 24-hour race wins. Back in the day when Firehawk and the SCCA's World Challenge Series were running a lot of 24-hour stuff, he won a bunch of them.
Oh, yeah, he did. I always enjoyed racing with Don. He's a very cagey, wily guy. He's one of those kind of old age and treachery type drivers.
Yeah.
And he's going to be tough to beat in this race, but I think we got some cars right behind him that can do the job. Unfortunately, you'll notice that Cooper McNeil is missing in the WeatherTech Mustang. He went out and hit some oil yesterday in his last qualifier, going for the pole. He was on the pace, had a pretty big crash. He's okay, a little sore, but unfortunately he's not on the grid. Sorry to see that because he just took a championship in American Le Mans racing in the GTC class.
Yeah, that's a tough break indeed. Let's go through the starting lineup. As you mentioned, Knowles on pole in his Phoenix Hawk Racing Hoosier Mustang. Todd Naparowski has been doing some World Challenge racing in his beautiful Chevrolet Performance and Backstreet Performance Chevy Camaro. Qualified 3rd, double defending national champ in this category, Marty Grand out of Manassas Park, Virginia, in his AMS and UCS Performance Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Then qualified 4th, a runoffs rookie but champion in the Central Division, Steve Jenkins in his Trimtech BRM Porsche 996. Qualified 5th, the 88, a Pratt Cole in the Western Metals Transport Ford Mustang. Tremendous experience in the runoffs in a variety of categories. Starting, as we would have said, in the 6th spot would have been Cooper McNeil, but he had to withdraw because of that shunt. Qualified 7th, the number 80 of John Kashadurian out of Chicago, Illinois, the Gray Fox Racing BMW M3. Qualified 8th, another driver doing some World Challenge racing this year, the 08 of Brian Kleeman in his Ford Mustang GT in the Inquisic R3 machine. Qualified 9th, number 2, Alan Kossoff in the Kossoff Motorsports BMW M3. Qualified 10th, number 5, Bill Moore in the More Sports Swift Backstreet, Pontiac Solstice GXB qualified 11th. The 56 of Bill Botten. The Hoosier Krug-Speed Ford Mustang qualified 12th. The 74 of James Lighthouser in the Alpine Motorsports BMW Z4 M Coupe. He's had a lot of runoffs races over the years. The 13th is 09 of Randy Taro in his self-sponsored Nissan 370Z. He's the champion in the Northeastern Division, qualified in the 14th spot. Number 8, a rookie to the runoffs, is Chris Oatson out of Sudbury, Mass. in his iTrackZone.com Nissan 350. Qualified in the 15th spot. Number 26, Dan Spirek out of Parker, Colorado, the Alpine Autosport BMW Z4 Coupe. And completing the field in 16th, number 36, John Baker in the Jordan Ramos PC Nissan 350Z, as they are working down through Canada Corner and making their way up through the Billy Mitchell turn 13, heading toward the start. But again, a great mix of machinery in here. And Marty Grand, awfully quick. He was on the pole in 09, as I said, won the last 2 medals last year, coming in some pretty wet weather. We were talking the previous race he did, one of the oldest categories in SCCA in age production. This one, his first year competition was in 1998, and the touring concept is high performance cars that maybe need a little bit of work just to make them safer to race because of their performance potential. Otherwise not modified that much. They don't need it. These cars are quick.
Yeah, look at the front row. It's American muscle. Camaro versus Mustang. Second row, we got the Mitsubishi and the Porsche. So a little bit of a variety there.
As Biz talked about, it's a great class for the manufacturers. Watch for the green as T2 about to unfold, and woo, Knowles rolling into that throttle early, and Naparowski didn't really go with him, and the starter said that was the apparently that was okay.
That was a late green or an early gas, or a little of both.
One of the two. But look at Marty Legrand, moves right around. Marty Grand moves right into second around Naparowski.
Oh yeah, he's got that Mitsubishi wound up. It's a turbo. It's got an intercooler that's really going to help make the power in this cool air.
Yeah, he was probably looking at the forecast going, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. He's starting out brave also, maybe because of the four-wheel drive of the Mitsubishi Evo.
Yeah.
It could make him more confident in the early laps on cold tires.
That's true, and that's, you know, part of the mix here. You've got the Mitsubishi all-wheel drive, the Mustangs, the pony cars, obviously rear-wheel drive, along with the Porsche, heading down into turn 5. And Don Knowles, you've got the potential speed of Marty Grand with all of those things working for him, turbo and all-wheel drive. But as you said, up against some awfully feisty competition that has been honed over a lot of years by Don Knowles.
Yeah, I know Marty Grand. I've watched him race the last couple of years. He's usually got a lot of motor in that turbo Evo, and we'll see how that turns out today in this cold air condition. I think that's part of the reason why Don Knowles said, you know what, I am getting on that gas early.
Yep, they call lap time for in the pole a 2:27.9, a 2:28.2 for Naparowski, but a 2:28.3 for Marty Grand, a 2:28.5 for Steve Jenkins. Some very close times, and there you take a look at that Porsche of Jenkins tucking right in there.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that, Naparowski all over Grand.
Oh yeah, and Jenkins is ready to go too. I think the Mitsubishi's holding him up a little bit back in the corners, and his advantage is probably on the straightaways. Jenkins making a move inside.
Oh, we saw Marty Grand drop that left rear wheel at the exit of the kink, and another car behind him running pretty wide through there.
Rally style.
Oh man, they're throwing it around. Here comes Jenkins down the inside of Naparowski,
Nice
doing what Porsches are known to do, brake late.
Great on the brakes. Inside, the Camaro's trying to get him back. Jenkins squeezes him and he backs off.
So here we go. All of that action has given Knowles a little bit of breathing room over Grand in the Mitsubishi, then that great battle for third. But Jenkins looks like that Porsche is lively early.
Yeah, he's hot. He's on it. Let's see how he can run with that Mitsubishi. First time down the front straightaway.
He's the only guy in this class who's super sweep eligible, and if you haven't been following earlier, the super sweep is you have to win your divisional championship on the national level. There's a national point structure that doesn't worry about division. It's just finishes and how many cars you race against. You have to be on top of the points in that, and then you have to win one of the 9 BF Goodrich Super Tour races. There's one in each of the 9 divisions. You have to win one of them. He's done all of that. Now comes the toughest part of the job, winning the national championship. If you do that, it's a big broom. You've done the super sweep, they call it.
Well, if he's eligible, he's been having a good year.
Oh boy, yeah, exactly. You're eligible and a complete rookie at the runoffs.
He's a rookie at the runoffs, but you know what? He's not a rookie racer.
No.
I met Steve racing in the pro races over in some other series, so he's got a lot of driving background, and he's really a great guy, frankly. A lot of fun to hang out with. really aggressive on the track.
Right.
Doesn't leave any prisoners.
Well, he had 8 starts this year, 7 of them he ended up winning.
He's good on the brakes.
Boy, he is really dynamite on the brakes in that Trimtex drywall machine. Up into 6. Barry, what's this corner like when it's cold?
Well, when it's cold, you don't have much grip. You got to get some temp in the tires. I think these guys they're on it though. I think they did a good job warming them up. They've run enough. They've got it in the ballpark. That guy in the BMW, maybe not so much. He came out of there wiggling. I thought Jenkins was going to go for him here at 8. Oh, a little help.
Little love tap there,
Little
saying,
love tap.
I'm here, pick it up, buddy.
Yeah, the Porsche a lot quicker in the corners than the Mitsubishi, especially down through 7, 8, and the carousel.
And the one thing you see of those 4 cars up front, that Porsche is easily the slipperiest.
Yeah, you can just tell aerodynamically, but in fact, it's true. You can't always tell by looking. The Porsche has really good aero package, but the Mitsubishi seems to be holding up these other 2 cars. Oh, we got a 360 into the 350Z into the wall.
That's Randy Taro, who's had a problem, qualified in the 13th spot. He's driving off, but he definitely got into the barriers a little bit. Jenks wanted to come by, Jenkins did, but again, Marty Grand driving that Mitsubishi fairly wide. And it's interesting here because look at that now. Nate Boralski trying to get by. Coming up around the outside is Pratt Cole, another guy with
look at that
great
traffic
race experience.
Here, you know, we're on the 2nd lap of the race, and Marty Grant's blocking like it's the last lap of the race. Meanwhile, he's got a flipping traffic jam behind him.
Yeah, it's one thing defending. There's a big difference between defending and blocking. And, you know, you're entitled to that one move. You can enter that turn at any line you want. But boy, then he gets on the loud pipe and that turbo spools up and he does this. And
the
I think
engine's running great this morning in this cold air.
Yeah.
But there's a thing about defending that hard early in a race.
Yeah.
It raises your own risk because now you got 4 cars breathing down your neck, just diving, trying to get by.
Pratt Cole, the back end of that Mustang of his with that orange stripe, got completely out of line, and he did a brilliant job to save it. The problem is he's got John Cashadurian right there behind him, heaping on some pressure as well in his Gray Fox Racing BMW M3.
Pratt Cole, this is the 2nd time we've seen him out in a Mustang in one of these races. He's a busy man this weekend.
Yep, he was one of those guys started in the production classes we love so much, but he decided to evolve with the times as well, and has stepped it up and doing a superb job. There he is, beautiful car.
Those Mustangs are a lot of fun to drive.
Muscle, man, pony car. That's iconic in its own way, to be sure.
Let's see if Jenkins can end up on Marty Grant's bumper down there in turn 8 again.
Yeah, he's from this part of the track, from 5 on, Jenkins is clearly much quicker than Marty is. Marty's got some good motor in that car, and now that everybody's tires are up to temp, that possible all-wheel drive advantage early on may have been negated. Now, if
less,
but that might come back to him later in the race too. If people overdo their tires, or the track gets slick, then that all-wheel drive plays right back into his hands again. And that's why these guys have to get by him now, because look at that, you can see the margin. Knowles is gone.
Knowles is gone. He's getting a lot of help from Marty Grant, and he's just being clean and smooth and turning almost 2 seconds faster than the rest of the field on that last lap.
I believe we call that Knowles being Knowles. Smooth, fast.
Smooth is fast. I read an article Don wrote once. He said he often chooses to run a gear higher than other drivers on the course. And the reason is you carry that speed, shifts actually slow a car down.
Yep.
If you can run the gear, make it work. Look at that Porsche. He's just dying to get by that Mitsubishi. Got to find a way by.
Absolutely, and that's why now, you know, it's pretty obvious why he gave him that little love tap going into 8 is, you know, he definitely feels that car is slowing him down overall on the lap. Now on the straight here, you know, Marty obviously gets along that real well. As Dorsey Schrader would say, it's handling real good on the straights. But, you know, obviously he's holding them up elsewhere.
Yeah, the air temperature today makes the car's intercooler more efficient. And so the turbos get a bigger gain in power than the normally aspirated cars. And that Marty Grant car is amazingly fast down these straightaways. And it's a good advantage to have at Road America.
Oh, Nate Boralski showing the nose, trying to make the move. And look at that, as he moves over, Pratt Cole comes up alongside in his Mustang. And Cole, oh, if he can hang on to it.
All of the road, making
look at that pass around the outside of 1, using all the racetrack and a little dirt, and pulled it off.
What a move. That's runoff area, actually kind of to safely catch a car. Pratt uses it as racetrack and makes it work around the outside. So interesting to see how Nate Boralski took a shot on the inside.
Yep.
Didn't realize it made him vulnerable to Pratt Cole behind him. And Pratt, longtime racer, took advantage of that, just dive bomb down the outside.
Well, including his start earlier in the weekend in another class in a different Mustang. This is Pratt's 20th runoff start, 3 gold medals he's won, a couple of poles, a number of fast laps. He is experienced.
Yeah, and that's a newer Mustang. Those things have a big 410 horsepower V8. The Camaro also has a big V8, 426 horsepower, but they make them run a little heavy and a little bit restricted in this class to keep it all even and Steven.
Look at Nate Borowski now going to try and come down the inside on Cole down into turn 8.
He's back on him.
He's got the nose ahead now. Does he get it completely woed for the corner? Nice job by Nate Borowski. And
Meanwhile,
Cole,
Meanwhile, Marty Grant in the Mitsubishi and Steve Jenkins get out ahead.
Look at that brave move as Cashadurian threw it down the inside going into the carousel of Cole, and Cole realized, oh, I can't do anything about that, and if I try, it's going to be big, so let him go.
Wow,
that's nice.
Fortunes changed so much there in the 4th, 5th, and 6th positions.
That last lap, by the way, Knowles at 2:28.9 and Grant at 2:29.3, so after seconds slower, he's starting to find a little bit of pace, or Knowles now is driving the gap a little bit. And look at this, Grant and Jenkins have drawn away now from that battle behind them. Obviously with Cole Naparowski and Cashadurian racing each other that hard, in terms of raw lap time, it slows them down a little bit, and these guys now have broken clear. Ooh, look at Nate Borowski. What a beautiful slide in that gold Camaro.
Last year I was watching this race closely because my friend Cooper McNeil was running a WeatherTech car, and he was the guy who was stuck on Marty Grant's bumper the whole race. It looked a lot like what Steve Jenkins is going through right now.
And right there is where you see Marty start to draw away as Knowles comes by. This lap at 2:29.3 for Knowles. Grant at 2:29.1, a little quicker than Knowles. But I think Knowles right now knows he's got that big lead and he's just saving tires.
I got a feeling the fastest car on the racetrack right now might be Steve Jenkins.
Yeah.
If he could ever get a clear shot at turn 5.
Well, he just showed it. He turned at 2:28.7.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Steve. I think if Steve could ever beat that Mitsubishi to turn 5, he'd never see it again.
Yep, I think so. And I think that's exactly, he's just got to stay close enough. You can see he was all over him out of 3, and then the Mitsubishi just leaps out of that turn. A little bit further back in the pack, here's some solid racing unfolding here. That BMW Z4, I think that's Jim Lighthouser.
That's a beautiful car. 370Z chasing him. And we got
that's 26 Dan Spirek, sorry.
There.
That's
Making a
Spirek.
move. Whoa, right back in front of the Z car. That's the Club Racer version of that S2000. It's got a little better everything than the ones we were seeing running yesterday in T3.
Yeah, that's the battle for 12th, 13th, 14th there. Dan Spirek and that BMW now has it.
Interesting combination of cars. The BMW has, it's kind of like an M3, but with the coupe body.
Right.
Beautiful little car.
The 94 of Tom Wickersham in that S2000.
Okay, Wickersham, he was in the S2000, the other version, yesterday. So he's running 2 classes.
3 actually, because he had that great run in GT2 earlier in the weekend to gold. So he's been busy.
I'm jealous.
I know, it's nice, huh?
Yeah, and boy, it's a good way to get a lot of track time.
And he is doing that. It is it's Wickersham sitting in that spot now, right behind the 26 of Spirek.
He's on the move. Again, the S2000 is a handling car. He's quick back here. Look at him sticking a nose under that 3 Series. Oh my gosh, it's tight, it's close.
Oh.
Squeezes right under in the carousel.
That's 2 passes we've seen made in the entry to the carousel.
That's not an easy place to get by, but boy, I'll tell you what, he is moving. He's just left these guys.
Yeah, well, I think that obviously when he got Spirek a little bit offline going into the carousel, that really cost Spirek his momentum, huh?
I wonder if that little wing is helping him at the high-speed corners. It could be.
You bet.
Honda doesn't usually put something on a car unless it's actually functional.
Well, Knowles just went by us, and Grand, excuse me, and then Jenkins, and Jenkins has dropped off just a little bit.
Be interesting to see if the S2000 has the legs on the straightaway to keep that lead over these cars with the bigger engines.
Well, he's opened up a nice gap, didn't he, from being behind that number 26 heading into the carousel. Meanwhile, back up to this battle for the silver medal. It is still up front, very much the Don Knowles show at this point.
Marty Grant's running the same times. He's just a little further back as it took him longer to get to it.
3.5 seconds, the gap between Knowles and Grand, and another second back right now to your 3rd place car of Steve Jenkins, another couple of seconds back to Nate Boralski, and then the 80 of John Cashadurian. And there is second and third as we are going for the gold here in Turing 2 at Road America for this 49th running of the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Run-Up, presented in high definition by Volkswagen right here on SpeedcastTV.com. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the rest of the race in the battle. Can anybody catch Don Knowles? We'll find out in a minute.
This portion of the SCCA Runoffs is being brought to you by Volkswagen, Das Auto, by Mazda, Zoom Zoom, and by Black Magic Car Care Products.
The Mazda 3, a top safety pick with uncompromised performance. And now it's even more fuel efficient with available SkyActiv technology. We build Mazdas. What do you drive? Now get the Mazda 3 with 0.9% APR for a limited term.
Need help?
Yeah. Well, my ride's been losing power and gas mileage, and I've been thinking about grabbing...
That's thinking with your motorhead. Gummout products are backed by science, real science, so they help improve performance, increase fuel efficiency, and protect key engine parts. It's not clean until it's Gummout clean. Bring it in. Think with your motorhead. Choose Gummout, available at these fine retailers.
It remains the Don Knowles Clinic here at Road America in the battle for the gold in Turing 2 for the SCCA's National Championship Runoffs here at Road America. There's Marty Grand sitting in second, and he's moved in just a little bit, but I think it's more Knowles backing off just a little bit. The interesting story here, Randy, remains this guy, the 28 of Steve Jenkins. He can get close to Grand, but he never is quite close enough to make that pass. And you've said it before. You think if he can get him by the, at 5, he might be able to do enough to keep him behind him. But Grand has responded nicely.
Steve Jenkins is coming out of that fall line team.
Yep.
Got a real good engineer helping out this weekend, Jim Bell, longtime pro. And it looks like they had a setup that worked right from the get-go. He was so strong on those early laps. But look, he's still got a piece of Marty Grand back there on the back side of the course coming out of Canada.
And we've been watching this battle as well, and it continues. As you can see, we saw that beautiful S2000 of Wickersham get around the 26 of Spyrick, but Spyrick able to get back by him. Wickersham now trying to find another way through down into turn 8, but Spyrick was able to dig deep and come after him again.
Surprisingly, it looked like the S2000 was just gone, but remember we were asking about the legs? Here's that inside pass into the carousel again. It's like Spyrick knows he's better there, so he lets him go through, which thereby reduces the pressure on his tail, actually makes for a better racing world for everybody. I'm predicting the S2000 must be quite a bit slower on the straights, got a smaller engine, less power, less weight, good car for a tighter twistier track, but I think these other cars are catching him down those straightaways.
So why then, Randy, since obviously there's nobody in front of these guys for a long way, so they're racing for this position, which is the 12th spot right now, why then would Spyrick leave that opening going into the carousel? Why doesn't he pinch it in once, try and keep him behind him?
I think that's sportsmanship.
Okay.
I think that's sportsmanship. Maybe on the last lap, you're not going to see that.
It's no place for sportsmanship in the runoffs. I'm kidding, of course.
Club of
America, that's very right.
But I'm going to tell you, on the last lap, I don't think we're going to see that.
Yeah.
But we did see that puff of smoke again.
Yeah.
Just like in the S2000 in the other class that Wickersham was running. We think it's from the car building up oil in the head in a cornering situation, pumping a little bit out into a breather. Here's that dynamometer, the turn 1 straightaway, and you can see the S2000 is hurting on the straights. He doesn't have enough power, mostly because he's lighter, but he has a much smaller engine.
Yep, that's Utzon, the number 8, trying to make the move down to the inside, but Wickersham able to carry good entry speed, a little wider entry into 1, and able to hang on to it. And this is now where, obviously, that BMW draws away a little bit, then you get down into turn 5, and from there on, it's a little bit more handling than horsepower until you get back to 14, and that's when Wickersham comes alive.
Road America is like 2 racetracks, really. You've got the straightaway out of 14 and the straightaway coming back to turn 5, both of them nearly a mile long. Then you've got all the fast curves clear around from turn 5 to turn 14. So it's interesting to see races where cars have the power advantage versus cars with the handling advantage. And hopefully these guys are just having a great time with this, because it's the Sports Car Club of America, and we're here to have a good time.
Well, and you know, when they qualified, obviously these guys qualified a little bit further back in the order at this point. You're talking at qualifying at 234s while the leaders were at 227s. So they knew that they weren't in this for a national championship, but they've raced hard all year to get to the runoffs. This, even though it's a battle for 12th right now, 11th, 12th, 13th in that area, we've talked about it. It's the runoffs. You find the people that you can race with at the runoffs. You don't race any less hard than the guys up front. It may not be for a medal, but it is for prestige. It is for personal satisfaction to say that you ran the runoffs and you ran well.
And you had a great time.
Yeah.
You betcha. And just being at the runoffs.
Jenkins is off.
Jenkins is in the gravel.
That's down at turn 8, just where he was obviously always trying to make moves down in there. Oh, we're getting a report now that's actually 14.
Sorry to see
Boy,
that
did he
happen.
get way off at 14
Yeah,
then.
maybe the tail of that Porsche got around on him. He might have been trying a little too hard to keep up with Marty Grant. Maybe he was even trying to pass attempt. We're going to see if we can get a replay on this. Don't know yet. Don Knowles still has a nice lead.
Yep, the margin. Let's go back and take a look on our scoring monitor at what the margin is now. 3 seconds still, Knowles to Grand. And now, with Jenkins out of the picture, Grand has another 3-second lead back to third, Todd Naparolsky. Then it's Kashadurian, and that brings Alan Kosoff, the number 2, up into the top 5 for the first time in his BMW M3.
Don Knowles is doing a great job in that Mustang, and it is well set up. It's a Phoenix racing car. Those guys know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Don drives for them frequently, and the Mustang has a tremendous amount of potential if you can get the car to work. It's a heavy car, so over the course of a race, it can be really hard on the tires. We may see the car slow down simply due to its weight.
Well, and that's something that I think has played beautifully into his hand with Jenkins and Grand and their battle, and Grand making it difficult, giving that big gap to Knowles. He was able to back his times down a little bit, save tires and brakes. That's big here.
Yeah, you bet, and that would be a help to his whole advantage. But part of that, the Mustang really is not a heavy car in stock.
Right.
But to run in this class, it has to add ballast because it has a much bigger, more powerful engine than some of the other cars. So it ends up as a car in T2, a heavy car. That's really what I'm getting at there. But at a track like Road America, the big motor can pay off.
Just watch the 09 of Randy Taro, who had that off down at turn 8, has made his way into pit lane. So apparently he did ding the app. Look at that, they're peeling the front end off of that car. Oh, and we also are hearing that Pratt Cole, who we watched earlier up in that battle for a little bit, is apparently maybe having, they don't know whether it's fuel or electrical, but he's having to cycle the master switch because he's got a nasty cutout of some sort in that car.
You know what that brings up is it brings up the electronic controls on modern cars.
Yep.
And a lot of these are cars that, in fact, I think all of them were built in the last few years. And the car's electronics on a street car are so sophisticated and so involved in everything part of the automobile that when you try to race them, those electronics can get confused.
Yep.
It's not easy to turn. The race car has the capability, or these street cars, modern street cars have the capability to be race cars very easily, but the electronic controls, mostly for safety and reliability, get in the way of that.
Yep.
And you've got to find a way to turn them off.
Well, and they also, a lot of them have that built-in thing called limp mode, where if something happens that the computer doesn't like, it just cuts you into almost like a pit lane speed limiter that you just drops the revs just enough to get you to a garage or a gas station on the road. Well, that doesn't exactly play to what you want here on the street. Now, some of the other cars that are designed to be very sporty cars from the get-go, in that the setting switches in the car, they have one that's just high performance, where if you're on the throttle most of the time hard and on the brake heavy, it just kicks into a sport mode. But the cars that don't have that option, that electronics thing can really be tricky.
When you're racing, a lot of wild things happen that never happen in normal driving, and it can surprise the computer.
There's Pratt Cole we're talking about. Is just right now, for whatever reason, we don't know what the exact problem is, but he's just trying to be able to bring that car home.
Yeah, well, I've heard stories, and I've had cars where I had to do that throughout the race just to wake it up again, reset. Yeah. You're rebooting the computer, just
basically,
like you do at home.
Yep. And by the way, you see that thing hanging down from the back of Pratt Cole's car, that is not an issue. these cars are all required to have a tow strap, and they're mounted differently. Some of them are just like a metal loop that's just welded right onto the frame that you can reach underneath and hook. Some of them just put a strap like that on the back that makes it very easy for the EV crews to be able to run out should you have an issue and hook up to it. So that's all that is that's flailing around back there.
And that helps reduce the number of full course yellows.
Exactly.
It's a good thing.
Yep.
We're getting another report that it could be the little moisture from the morning dew has gotten down into the master switch that was added to the car. At this point, we don't know.
So, well, there's a lot of different possibilities that could be affecting it. Clearly, when it's running quick.
Yeah, the Mustang is a terrific car to drive. Powerful front engine, rear drive. Classic American setup, the pony car.
Knowles puts his 11th or 10th lap in the books. We're working 11th. Ooh! Cole again there. Boy, he is driving the wheels off it. Just trying to keep that thing moving here, obviously, as he had been up in that battle for the top 5 earlier, but has had his issues and dropped off just a little bit.
And here are the BMWs. These BMWs were the class of the field 3 or 4 years ago.
Yes, they were.
We've been watching this T2 class get faster and faster.
That's Kashadurian, that black car with the orange trim, sitting in the 4th spot, and right behind him, that white BMW is Alan Kosoff, sitting in 5th. These guys have been having a great run. Kashadurian, that Gray Fox Racing M3, and Kosoff, the Kosoff Motorsports machine. And we saw Kashadurian make a very, very aggressive move in the carousel earlier as well. And he is really putting the hammer down. But Kosoff has found some speed and is starting to reel him in.
Those cars run out of the Fall Line garage, which is, say, in Chicago, so they're in their home territory. And that team does a great job of race preparation. These are E46 M3s. They have a 3.2 liter 6-cylinder engine, makes about 333 horsepower stock, and they're a great handling chassis.
I thought for a minute Kosoff was actually going to try and make that move, and he decided, no, that would have been a little late to try and pull that one off. I mean, these are cars, basically, that E46 in slightly different trim ran in the World Challenge Series with the guys from a couple of different teams. Bimmer World ran them very successfully as well. So they're and BMW is just a great performing car.
It's a lot of fun to drive. Kosoff is a very aggressive driver. That's probably why they got the camera on him right now, because they know that he can give us some good action, give us some good TV, entertain you folks.
His last lap was 0.6 quicker than Kashadurian as he's run him down. And they both, with Pratt Cole's problems now, Pratt is sitting in 6th, way back of these guys. It's funny, when Cole's car is working, he's running very quick laps, but it doesn't consistently work, so he's losing time to this battle right here, again for the 4th spot.
These two BMWs race each other frequently. They're both from the same part of the country, so this is normal for these guys. They know each other. They're duking it out, and they're having a great, great time.
Kashadurian was 2nd in Central Division this year. He had 2 wins and a bunch of podiums on his way. Kosoff was 6th in Sendiv, but he only ran 4 races and a couple of podiums. But as you said, they race each other off, and they've certainly raced this track frequently, so they have the track knowledge. Ooh, look at this. Naparalski has found something and is starting to run in on Grand. That last lap, he ran a lap 1.5 seconds faster than Marty Grand, folks. So Naparalski has found something.
I remember that good-looking gold and black Camaro from the World Challenge.
Yeah.
Todd Naparalski has made some ground up on Marty Grand. Maybe that Mitsubishi's had a little bit of an issue.
Well, late in the race, we don't know. Maybe, we watched Marty driving very aggressively in the early parts of this, and maybe with that all-wheel drive, even with the all-wheel drive, sometimes you can overwork those tires, and when you overwork all-wheel drive tires, you're overworking all of them.
Well, Marty Grant works the tires hard.
And he did.
That's his style.
Yeah.
He's kind of rally drives that all-wheel drive Evo. That's where the car really comes from, is the rally world. And it makes a great race car because it's got a heck of an engine.
About 1.5 seconds, about 1.5 laps left to go for these two.
Oh, we're almost there.
Yeah.
Don Knowles having one of those days I like to have. It doesn't make good TV, but as a driver, you love to have the car advantage. Just stay clean, hope everything runs right, and bring it home to the checker.
Just saw Kosoff have a bit of a wide run down into turn 5, lost some ground
He's an
to
exciting
Kashadurian,
driver.
but we're working on this because this now is medal battle, and Naparalski is continuing to close.
Yeah, he's got a sniff. He's got a sniff. He can smell blood.
And again, now he's still got this run to the start-finish line and one more lap, and he is closing. He knows now he's got speed.
That big Camaro's
look at that run.
Got a piece of that Mitsubishi Evo. Looks like its power is down a little bit. Let's see if he tries him into Canada corner.
I think Nate Borowski just did something very, very smart as he headed into the kink. As you see Grand now dead center track just to dissuade any kind of a move. But Nate Borowski, he didn't use all of the racetrack exit in the kink, and I think he purposely knew if he did, he'd run up on the back of Grand and then have to check up and lose that momentum. I think he just gave him a little bit of room so he get the run into Canada. That's smart.
Now, you are pointing out what a good battle we have here. Marty Grand is hanging on, trying to hold on to that second place position. Todd Nate Borowski is looking at him and figuring out, where am I going to get this guy? And it looks like it's going to have to be somewhere between turn 5 and turn 14.
Yeah, he's not going to get him into one. Look at that margin that Grand opens up with that turbo in this cold, cold air as we start our last lap.
It looks pretty obvious, but we're not talking about an engine issue here.
No, no.
It must be a handling issue. The tires have probably had about all they can take.
And Knowles backpedaled a little bit that last lap, turned a 229.8 to Grant's 228.8. And that's just because he's got that lead, obviously, and he's just bringing that car home.
He's relaxed out there doing what he knows how to do.
And I think right there we saw Todd turning in quite early for turn 3, which slows that exit up just a little bit. And he can't be doing that. He's got to get every ounce of exit speed to try and be close to Grant somewhere.
Yep, and now we're going to see it. Now we're going to see it happen.
Yeah.
Todd's going to be braking as late as he can, trying to reel in that
Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi.
Like that.
And he braked a little too late.
Yeah, that's going to...
Greg, did I call that, or did I call that?
You did, Randy. You had it nailed. Not
too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I was all for it, and he just tried a little too hard. Well, a lot too hard, frankly.
Well, you know, some of that may have been, late braking. Obviously, you're trying to charge, but this late in the race on this track, maybe that pedal was a little bit soft at that point.
Could be. The Camaro's got to carry a lot of ballast in
Yeah.
this class because it has a big, powerful engine, and it was just too much for those tires and brakes going into turn 5.
And Don Knowles just continuing to clock the laps. Just absolute perfection from this guy.
Just beautiful. That car is really hooked up. You don't see much roll. Look how tight it is.
Yep.
I mean, most of the Mustangs we've seen have got a lot more body roll and just don't look hooked up like that Mustang is. Phoenix Racing has a setup on that car, and Don Knowles is a driver with a lot of setup experience. He gets credit for helping the team set the car up and put together a package that can dominate this race.
He has great communication with the guys doing the setup on the car to be able to tell them, here's what I'm feeling, here's what I need, and put it in terms that they can understand and vice versa. And the result is a run like this.
Don is famous for being a diplomat.
Yeah.
He was Deputy Undersecretary of the Interior there for a while and racing at the same time.
So clearly he has a knack for communication, and it shows when you get a setup on a car like this. Don Knowles coming on. This is going to be a 6th gold medal in his illustrious career at the Runoffs here.
Wow.
Again, this is his 36th runoff start. Now, some of that is in different classes. You do multiple classes, but still, that's a remarkable record. Marty Grand in second, and Todd Neporowski. Boy, did Todd give it his all, trying to move to the silver, and still ends up getting a gold. So congratulations to him.
Got her on the podium.
Yep.
Then our BMW guys come across, 4th and 5th.
Kashadurian in the 80, and then the number 2 of Kosov, and Pratt Cole just coming by, so he was able to keep that Mustang alive. And look at this, is the number 94.
Wickersham, he's back ahead of the BMW and making it work.
And this time with a gap, so he's just got to drive the wheels off that 2000 so that car behind him isn't close enough to out-muscle him literally up that front straight. And it looks like, Randy, he may have that done.
Outson is gone, and maybe he's just dropped back enough we can't see him.
That could be, but boy, Wickersham getting through, Carousel in the kink, stretching that margin, which is exactly what he needed to do over Spirek.
They've had a great race.
They have.
That lightweight handling versus the power of the heavier cars, and it's working for Wickersham so far.
This is the battle for 11th, and Wickersham, by the way, did not get a time in qualifying because he was working with other classes and the like, and there was some conflict, so he started dead last in this one and has been able to put on a nice drive, and looks like he's going to bring it home 11th.
Yeah, he does. Up the hill for the checkered flag.
And he had enough of that margin over Spyrick that he is going to be able to hang on to it. The checkers fly. Nice drive again by Wickersham up through the pack. There comes Spyrick through in 12th.
I bet you Wickersham could win in that S2000 over there at Black Hawk Farms on that little 1.5 mile track you were talking about.
Yep.
He did a great job today.
Yep. When it's twisty and busy like Mid-Ohio, I think that that car would be superb there. It's just, and that's the thing. Certain cars are better at certain tracks, and that's why the Runoffs tends to move around a little bit. It had that long run at Road Atlanta, but it moves around just
Marty
so.
Grand up there giving a thumbs up to Don Knowles. Congratulations.
Move. So Marty Grand, of course, as we talked about, a two-time medalist, and up against now seeing Don Knowles. And by the way, the GoPro Hero Move of the Race Award, the votes are in. Couldn't agree with this one more. Pratt Cole around the outside at 1.
Oh, great. I was seeing GoPro all the way on that move.
Yeah, that was a thing of beauty.
Too bad the car started having that shutting off problem, because he was having a great race.
He was, and he's always just so fun to watch. All that experience, and yet still willing to hang it out like that. That's absolutely awesome. But up front, speaking of experience, Don Knowles heading down into pit lane, heading up for the medals. And the interview with John Bizignano and Don, and as you talked about, when he gets out of the car, pulls that helmet off, you're gonna see somebody there, as you said, doesn't look like you're,
He looks like your grandpa.
Yeah, he does, but boy, he pedals this quick.
But he's a real gentleman.
He
and
truly
you know what?
is. Class act.
He's
a class
yes,
act.
he is. And he's one of the top honchos in the Road Racing Drivers Club, which always has meetings here at the Runoffs and gives awards for the best performance, the Mark Donahue Award.
Yep.
Don Knowles a big part of that Road Racing Drivers Club that I'm happy to be a member of myself.
Yep, and he is in. The window net's going to come down. Bonnie's got the medal and the hat for Don Knowles. And the other thing about Don Knowles, I've never known him to race in anything other than just a white helmet. For him, it isn't show, it's go. All right, and now let's see. Yep, I see John Bizignano moving in. Let's hear from him.
Absolutely, we're going to get that very important Hoosier necklace on there. That certainly the tires performed superbly today. Don Knowles is not uncommon in the winner's circle, multiple champion. I heard the word old in there. I'm not sure what that was about. So Donnie's switching off the car. Donnie wants to get fully prepared for this interview, as you can see. He's getting the Hans device on, has his Hoosier. Any time, guys. We only got a half an hour here for this, okay? We'd like to celebrate too with him, Donnie Knowles, congratulations, buddy, another gold medal.
Hey, I am tickled. We had a great run today. Yeah, I'll go through all the sponsors for just a minute. We got a great Ford Racing suspension. We got great Penske shocks. We got great Hulk brake pads. We got great Hoosier tires, and a great setup by Phoenix Performance. Andrew Aquilani set the car up. I didn't touch it all week. Well, that's not true. I washed it, but I didn't do anything else to it.
How about that great advice I was giving you all weekend? you forgot me again.
Well, I think you told me be careful at school.
I've known you since 1977. I don't know when I've seen a bigger smile on your face, Donnie.
It never gets old, and every time is better than the time before. I got to tell you, this is just wonderful. Really, really nice.
What was the big change between this and the Cadillac?
Wow, this has a real suspension. It's a real car. You can drive it like a real car. It's got great brakes, turns, doesn't roll. I mean, it's just a really nice piece. Really nice piece. It's a great class. I mean, they're like 6 or 8. I mean, we beat BMWs, we beat Porsches, we beat Camaros, we beat all those cars.
You love saying that, don't you? Well, what we were saying in the booth was the Don Knowles School of Smooth is Fast also.
Well, I was fortunate to get a little bit of a break on the first turn, on the first lap, and I just decided, I'm not going to look in the mirror. I'm not going to worry about anybody else. I'm just going to shut up and drive.
Shut up and drive? Are you sure about that? Okay. Here comes Bonnie with the gold medal. Congratulations, my friend.
Bonnie.
Welcome, dear. All right, back to second place car. And I have one question for this young man back here, and it's, how does a 4-door Mitsubishi stay in front of a Porsche 911? We have got to find Marty. Congratulations on a great drive, buddy. I've already let the The viewers know what I'm going to ask you. I'm going to repeat it. How does a four-door Mitsubishi stay in front of a Porsche 911, both on the straightaways and the corners? You were driving the wheels off of this thing.
Well, that's literally what I had to do, drive the wheels off it. Tires were, getting pretty slippery in the end. But, yeah, it wasn't easy.
Oh, that's the short answer. Okay, so going into the corners, you have a little bit of an advantage with a four-wheel drive and so forth. In the morning was, when it was really, really cold and the tires weren't up to temperature, you looked like you were the smoothest guy out there.
The tires got up to temp in the first lap because the track is actually pretty good. The big difference is the Porsche kind of has the, finesse the corners. I charge the corners and I use the turbo and all-wheel drive to kind of launch out of them.
Finesse? What finesse are you he was bumping you through a couple of them. I don't call that finesse.
Yeah, I guess I was going too slow for him in the corners there.
Congratulations on a great silver medal. Todd, man, you had him in your sights. If this would have been another 2 laps, you'd be wearing silver, not bronze, my friend.
That was fun. That was fun. I didn't get off to a very good start.
What happened in the start? I mean, you qualified second and then kind of went backwards.
On the start, I didn't expect Don to take off like he did. We were coming up the hill, and he just took off. And
now you know the school of high performance driving by Don Knowles.
Lesson from the master. So, anyways, I lost a couple positions, and got over the disappointment. Tried to settle down and race a little bit harder, and settled down in the middle of the track, and then started having some braking issues like everybody. Marty's lights were flashing on and off, trying to pump the pedal back up and get the brakes back, and overcooked it in 5, just trying to catch Marty. Went in there and just pedal went down to the floor and just tried to downshift and save it into the gravel and get back on track and save third.
Todd, you never gave up, I'll tell you, man. Great camaraderie between all you guys, and Tom qualified second, came in third. Not a bad weekend. Congratulations.
Very happy with it. Thank you very much.
Back to you guys in that nice warm booth. Nice warm booth it is? Yes, I know it.
You can tell the brakes are an issue for the cars like the Camaro that have carried the extra ballast, but that Don Knowles and his team really had the setup today.
Well, and how cool is that? Don Knowles, we talked about it. It was, his 36th runoff start. He's now a 6-time medalist. He was like a kid that had just won his first championship. That's how important the runoffs are. And you know what? You've done pretty well when you're on a first-name basis with the person handing out the golds. Did you hear him go, "Hey, Bonnie, how are you?"
Yes. He's a real part of the club of the SCCA. And Don Knowles earns it. He's a real gentleman, and he's one of those drivers that is a finesse driver.
Yeah.
He is Mr. Smooth, and smooth is fast because you fill the friction circle. You're using all the tires have to give while you're braking, then blending that into the corner, then blending that into acceleration. And it's that blending that makes smooth fast.
And here's a look at the results. I love it that you bring up the friction circle, because that is so successful. I think it was Jackie Stewart that kind of used to show that when he'd have those driving schools with that tub on the nose of the car with a ball in it. You try and keep that ball around the outer edge. But that's how you drive quick laps. Knowles doing it incredibly well. Again, to his 6th gold medal. Marty Grand, another medal. This time, though, a silver instead of the gold from the last 2 years. Todd Naparowski, a great run. Just as we said, a little bit of brake fade late in the going cost him down in 5. Kashadurian, some very aggressive and fun racing. Alan Kosoff, quick at the end as he ran him down. Pratt Cole, spectacular, winning that GoPro Hero Move of the Race award, but having that little bit of a cutout issue that he just managed to survive with. Brian Kleeman, another World Challenge guy who had a nice run, 56 at Botten and 8th Moore, and James Lighthouser bringing it home in the 10th spot. And then behind them, of course, that great battle with Wickersham that he had for the really almost the entire race, with the 26 of Spirek having a good run. But for Don Knowles, number 6, man.
Jim Lighthouser and Pratt Cole, both old autocross buddies of mine.
That's where so many start, folks. You can join SCCA, start autocrossing, and start to hone your racecraft, and eventually you could maybe be running in the runoffs. So we show you some of the big moments from our Touring 2 National Championship race. We're going to wrap things up here. Congratulations to Don Knowles on a 6th gold medal. For Randy and Biz, I'm Greg Kramer. We'll see you next time. Take care, folks.
This portion of the SCCA Runoffs is being brought to you by Volkswagen, Das Auto, by Mazda, Zoom Zoom, and by Black Magic Car Care Products.
The Mazda 3, a top safety pick with uncompromised performance. And now it's even more fuel efficient with available SkyActiv technology. We build Mazdas. What do you drive? Now, get the Mazda 3 with 0.9% APR for a limited term.
Need help?
Yeah. Well, my ride's been losing power and gas mileage, and I've been thinking about grabbing...
That's thinking with your motorhead. Gummout products are backed by science, real science, so they help improve performance, increase fuel efficiency, and protect key engine parts. It's not clean until it's Gummout clean. Bring it in. Think with your motorhead. Choose Gummout, available at these fine retailers.